Hi, my name's Jessica Flowers. Welcome to Smell the Flowers Yoga, where I hope that together we will slow down, practice some mindfulness, and learn to appreciate simple pleasures like smelling the flowers. Today I'm going to be building on the breath infused movement for building nervous system resilience. We'll start just by coming to a comfortable seat on your mat. Maybe you have your hips propped up a little bit higher than your knees, sitting on a blanket or a block or a bolster. And let's just start to tune in. Forget about everything that happened before this practice. And try not to think about the things that you have to do after. Just right here, right now, this moment. There's nowhere else you have to be. Nothing else you have to be doing. So I invite you to tune into your breath. If you like, maybe you put your right hand on your lower belly, your left hand over your heart. Breathing in and out through your nose. Just begin to tune into those sensations in your body. Sometimes in good practice for arriving at your mat is to take notice of your different perceptions. So we can start by noticing what's going on in the external environment. Maybe what do you see? What do you hear? Do you notice any smells? And then start to tune into your sense of proprioception. So where is your body in space? Notice your sitting bones pressing into the ground. Maybe where your thighs and your knees are coming in contact with the floor and your feet. Notice where your hands are touching your body. And then start to tune inward. If you haven't already, maybe you close your eyes. Just have a soft gaze. Maybe notice your breath a little bit more here. Notice any sensations that you feel in your body. Are there certain areas that you want to pay a little extra attention to as we go through the practice today? Just building that interoceptive awareness. So let's start with this idea of the breath moves the body by bringing our hands out to the sides of our body. And as we inhale, we'll bring our hands up overhead. So you might come straight up, out from the sides of your body, inhaling up, exhaling, let your arms float back down. You may choose to come more into cactus arms, so keeping your elbows bent. And exhale, floating arms back down. Or you could start with your hands on your chest, and if smaller movements are better for you, you could just inhale, maybe bring your hands up to your eyebrow level, doing a little small salute there. These are arm movements that you can do in any of the postures that we're doing, where we're inhaling to raise our arms up overhead, exhaling to lower. So just try those different options out. Maybe one option feels better in one pose and another, or you start out with one option and then throughout the practice, if your arms or your shoulders are starting to bother you, you can try one of these different alternatives. So let's just do a few more breaths. Inhaling, arms up, exhaling, letting them float back down. Just on your own breath, You may move slower than I do or faster than I am. That's okay. And after your next exhale, let your hands come down onto the mat and then just walk forward, coming onto hands and knees. I'm going to turn sideways on my mat. You may want to do that as well. You could have a blanket under your knees for a little extra padding. I'm on carpeting today, so I'm going to leave the blanket out. But that's a good option for you. We won't need our blocks just yet, but you might want those near the top of your mat if you have blocks or books or other things like that you might use. So we're just going to start out coming into tabletop, so your shoulders approximately over your wrists, your hips over your knees. And then as we exhale, we're going to sit our hips back, lower your elbows down, coming into our first child's pose. We'll inhale back to tabletop and take your right arm and send it out straight in front of you. Exhale, lower your right arm, lower both elbows down, lower your hips back towards your heels. Inhale, coming back up to tabletop. This time, send your left arm out in front of you. As you exhale, lower your left hand, lower both elbows, lower your hips towards your heels. Inhale, back to tabletop. Lift your right hand and your left leg this time. Exhale, lowering your hand and your leg, sitting back into child's pose. Inhaling back through tabletop, lift your left hand and your right leg this time. Exhale, bringing them both back down, lowering your elbows, lowering your hips. Inhaling, right arm, left leg. Exhale, back down to child's pose. Inhale, left hand, right leg. Exhale, back down, sit back to child's pose. This time we'll inhale, right arm, left leg, and we'll stay here for a few breaths. So as you inhale, maybe you stretch a little bit farther, reaching out, lengthening through your spine. As you exhale, you could try tapping both your toes and your fingertips down to the mat. See if you can get them there at the same time. Inhale, back up. Exhale, tap them down. Inhale, back up. And then exhale, lowering your hands, lowering your elbows, lowering your hips back to child's pose. And just take a moment here to notice how that side that we just held, that diagonal line from your right hand to your left foot. See if you can notice how that line feels a little bit different than the other side of your body. And then inhale back up through tabletop. We'll do the other side now. So left hand, right leg. Extend them up and out. And then we'll hold here. So as you inhale, maybe you stretch a little bit further. As you exhale, you could stay there, or maybe you try slowly lowering them down to the mat, tapping them down. Inhaling, coming back up. Exhale, maybe staying there or trying to lower together. Inhale, back up. And then exhale, place your hand and your knee back down on the mat, lower your elbows, lower your hips towards your heels, and we'll stay here in child's pose for a few breaths. So maybe you can send your arms out a little bit longer, send your knees out a little bit wider towards the edge of the mat if that feels good. And then you could lower your head either onto a block, or maybe it comes all the way down to the mat. You could have it on a block. If you don't have a block handy, you can also stack your fists. And then inhale, coming back up through tabletop. We'll make our way all the way up to standing. Take your time. We'll come into our mountain pose. So noticing your feet approximately hip width apart, grounding through your toes and your heels, the outside edges of your feet. Have a little bit of a lift through the inner arch of your foot. Feel that energy coming up through your legs. Feel the muscles of your legs attaching to the bone, being slightly engaged here. Your knees stacked over your ankles, your hips over your knees, shoulders over your hips, and then your head, your ears approximately aligned over your shoulders as well. A little soft bend in your knees. Maybe shake out your shoulders a little bit. And then just close your eyes for a moment. Just tune in, feel the sense of stability here in your mountain pose. And then we'll bring some movement into this as well. So inhaling, bring both arms up to about shoulder height, and then you'll continue with your right arm, bringing it up overhead. Exhale, lower, they meet back up with each other, and then they both come down to the side of your body. Inhale, bringing your arms up to about shoulder height. Your left arm this time is going to continue up over your head, your right arm staying out from your shoulder. Exhale, lower that left hand back down, meets up with your right, and then they lower together. Do that a few more times. Inhaling, both arms come up to shoulder height, right arm continues up overhead. Exhale, lower your right arm, meet up with your left, and they both float back down together. Inhale, arms up halfway, left arm continues overhead. Exhale, float that left arm down, meets up with your right, and they both come down together. Now if you want, you can add your legs into this. So inhale, begin to raise your heels. Your right arm continues up overhead. And then let it float back down, and both arms float down together. You can lower down onto your heels. Inhaling, maybe you raise your heels, come up onto your toes. Your left arm continues up overhead. And then let it float down. Both arms float down together, and let your heels come back down. Now we'll do a few symmetrical here. So whichever arm motion you like, we'll continue both arms up overhead. All the way up, and maybe you come up onto your toes. Exhale, float your arms back down. Inhale, raising your arms up overhead, coming up onto your toes. And exhale, float your arms back down, coming down onto your heels. This time we'll float our arms up and come up onto our toes, and we'll stay for a few breaths. Whichever arm option feels good for you. Maybe bring your arms down into cactus arms. This little bit of balance is really good for your proprioception, where your body recognizing where it is in space. All those neurons firing, keeping you up right here. Exhale, let your arms lower, let your heels lower. All right, and then turn towards the skinny edge of your mat. We're going to start with some warrior one, and then warrior one into pyramid. A little bit of a flow sequence there. So starting with both feet pointing towards the skinny edge of your mat, you're going to step back with your right foot. A comfortable distance. You can check your positioning here just by bending in and out of that front knee. Make sure your shin stays about parallel. Step my back foot back a little bit. And you want your knee tracking kind of right out over the middle of your foot, over about your second and third toe. So this time we're going to do one arm movement again. So we're doing a lot of this cross-lateral movements today. It's really good for making the two hemispheres of your brain talk to each other more. So have your left hand on your left hip. As we inhale, press into your back leg, bend into that front knee, and raise your right arm up overhead. As you exhale, straighten your front leg, let your right arm float down. Inhale, bending into that front knee, raising your right arm up overhead. Exhale, straightening your leg, lowering your arm. And try to see if you can have these two movements kind of coordinated with each other. So moving nice and slow and smoothly, bending into that front knee, raising your right arm overhead. And this time we'll just stay for a few breaths. Maybe you take that front leg and plug your femur back into your hip joint, aligning your hips towards that skinny edge of your mat. And exhale, float your arm back down, straighten through your front leg. This time we're going to inhale, coming into Warrior One again. As we exhale, straighten your front leg and tip forward about a quarter of the way down. Inhale, coming back up, bending into your front knee. Exhale, straightening that front leg. This time, bend forward from your waist about halfway down. Inhale, coming back up, bend into your front knee, back into that Warrior One. And then as you exhale, straighten your front leg. We'll fold 3/4 of the way down. And then inhale, back up to Warrior One. Last time here. This time we'll exhale. You can also bring your left hand into it this time. We're going to fold all the way forward over that front leg. You can have a soft bend in your leg. And here you might want to bring some blocks in if you have blocks handy or books or something else. Or you can have your hands rest on your shin or maybe to the sides of your foot. Just let your upper body fold over your front leg. You can relax your head. Just let it hang. This is pyramid pose. Feel a nice stretch through the back of your left leg. And as you inhale, engage your abs and your back muscles. Bring yourself back up to upright. And then step your right foot forward up to meet your left. Just tune in for a minute here. Notice how the different sides of your body feel. We did a lot of work with our right arm, our left leg. See if you can notice again that sort of cross line of energy going through your body from your right side, your right hand over to your left foot. And you can step your left foot back this time. And checking your positioning, making sure you feel nice and stable here. Your legs about hip width apart, your front toes pointing straight forward to the skinny edge of your mat. Your back toes can be turned out a little bit. And you kind of be the judge of what feels good for the width of your feet. I like to keep mine about hip width apart. And once you feel like you have your legs in a good position there, you can bring your right hand to your right hip. So we're going to be moving our left hand this time. So press into your back foot. Both feet should be firmly planted onto the ground. Press into your back foot to bend into your front knee. And as you inhale, raise your left arm up overhead. Exhale, straighten your front leg, lower your left arm back down. Inhale, bending into your right knee, raising your left arm up overhead. Exhale, float that back down. Inhale one more time, coming into warrior one here. And we'll just stay for a few breaths. Notice that strength through your feet, grounding into the mat, that energy coming up through your legs, up through your body and out through your hand. And this time as you exhale, straighten your front leg and tip forward from your waist about a quarter of the way down. Inhale, bending back into your front knee, coming upright to warrior one. As you exhale, straighten your front leg, lower your arm about halfway. Inhale, coming back up, bending into that front knee. Exhale, straighten your front leg, bend forward, coming about 3/4 of the way down. Inhale, back up to warrior one, and then this time we'll fold all the way. Straightening your front leg, bringing your left hand, you can take your right hand off your hip and also bring that down. Finding a comfortable place to rest your hands, may just be here on your shin, on the ground, on some blocks. And just let your upper body fold over your leg. Relax your neck and just let your head hang. Noticing the stretch through the back side of your right leg this time. As you inhale, press in through your feet. You're going to bring your upper body back upright and then step your left foot back in to meet up with your right. You can come to the center of your mat now if you want, or at least I'm going to turn to face you. We'll do some symmetrical, just little forward fold after doing those asymmetrical poses. And here, just to take a moment, let's just do a little bit of bouncing here with our body. It's called rebounding. It's a really good way to get all the fluids, like moving through your joints, loosening up your fascia tissue. So just bounce a little bit, shake out your arms, your legs. And then just come into your Tadasana again, your mountain pose. Just notice how your body feels. Can you tune back into your breath, still breathing smoothly in and out through your nose. And we begin those forward folds. So similar to the shorter practice, we'll slide our hands down our legs. So starting with the front of the legs, as you exhale, just fold forward, sliding your hands down your legs. Inhale, letting them slide back up. This time on the sides of your legs, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, back up, just letting your hands help your body feel where you are in space. This time down the back sides of your legs, and when you get to the bottom, we'll stay for a few breaths. Just let your head go. Maybe shake it a few times no, a few times yes. Inhale, coming back up. Let's step your feet nice and wide here, and we'll turn, let's turn your right toes. I'll mirror you again. So you turn your right toes to the right. Your left toes can turn in a little bit. And again, you may have your feet a little bit wider, a little bit narrower. Just see what feels nice and stable for your body today. We're going to be coming into warrior two to start with, and then Eventually we'll be transitioning into triangle pose. So your hips here are more parallel to the long edge of your mat. So let's start by inhaling, arms up to your sides. Exhale, float them back down, straighten your front leg. Inhale, we'll come forward into that front knee, arms float out to your sides. Exhale, float everything back to center. One more time, coming into warrior two. Press into that back foot to bend into your front knee. Arms coming out from your shoulders. You could always do cactus arms here, or maybe the chest or forehead. If you want, you can turn, look down over your left fingers this time. Sorry, up, you're the opposite, right fingers. Inhale, lower your arms, straighten your front leg. So this time you're going to keep your front leg more or less straight. We'll inhale our arms up like we're coming into warrior two. And then you're going to tip at your waist over to the right side of your body. So bringing your right hand down onto your right shin. Your left arm can float up overhead. Inhale, we'll come back up to warrior two. As you exhale, straighten through your front leg, tip forward. Inhale, back up to warrior two, and exhale, straightening your front leg. This time we'll stay. So you might want to bring a block in. And if your arm's getting tired there, you can always rest it on your low back. Your gaze can be down towards your foot, or you could turn and look to the side if that feels all right for your neck. If you have your hand raised up, maybe you turn and look up towards your fingers in your triangle pose. We'll inhale back up through warrior two. Exhale, bring everything back to center. Just take a moment to pause here in the middle. Did a lot of bending in and out of your right leg. Maybe notice how that feels different than your left. And we'll do the other side. So turn your toes towards the left. Your left toes will be pointing straight forward towards the left edge of your mat. Your right toes maybe turned in a little bit. And just check the positioning of your legs. You want your knee coming out over your ankle, not too forward over your toes, but kind of tracking in the middle of your foot. All right, and then when you're ready, we'll come into our first warrior two on this side. So inhaling, bringing arms up from your shoulders, pressing into your right foot, bending into your left knee. Exhale, straightening your front leg, floating your arms back down. Inhale, press into your back foot, bend into your front knee, arms float up to your sides. Exhale, let your arms float down, straighten that front knee. One more time, inhale, float your arms up, bend into your front knee. We'll stay for a few breaths, so if you like, turn, look out over your left fingertips. Feel that strength, starting with nice grounding through your feet, that energy coming up through your legs, your pelvis, your torso. Nice long spine here. And exhale, straighten your front leg, let your arms float back down. Getting ready to come into that triangle pose. So inhale, arms up to your sides. So you exhale, we'll tip forward over that front leg. Inhale, coming back up to warrior two. Exhale, straightening through your front leg, tipping forward from the side of your waist. So feeling a nice stretch through the right side of your body here. Inhale, back up to warrior two. Exhale, straightening through your front knee, tipping, and this time we'll stay. You may be looking down towards your ankle, towards your foot, or maybe to the side, or you could turn and look up towards your fingertips. Inhale, coming back up through center. Walk your feet in a little bit. Keep them a little and wide here. Just take a moment to pause. Tune in, notice how it feels. Maybe it feels a little bit different now that we've done both sides. And keeping your legs wide, we'll come into some forward folds here. Again, the option to slide your hands down the front side of your legs as we fold forward. Inhale, bringing them back up. Exhale, sliding your hands down the sides of your legs. Inhale, back up. And this time down the back of your legs. When you get to the bottom, we'll stay here for a little while, so you might, you could stay with your hands on your shins, or maybe you bring some blocks in. Just relax your neck, let your head drop. Maybe do some shakes here. If you like to find a little side-to-side movement, that could feel nice here. And then coming back to center. Just take a few more breaths. And then inhale, pressing through your feet, bringing your arms back up to center. All right, step your feet back together. And then come into your mountain pose again. Feeling your feet nice and balanced from side to side, front to back. You start to shift your weight a little right to left. And the next time the weight settles over in your right foot, let it stay there. Begin to lift your left heel up off the ground, and then turn your left knee out towards the side. You can start with your hands on your hips here, and you might just take your left heel and place it on top of your right foot. You could try just staying there for today, or maybe you bring your left foot up and bring it onto the inside of your right calf. Make sure you're not tipping out to the side. Keep your body nice and straight here, so having a little pressure back from your calf into the bottom of your foot. You could, if you're feeling stable there, you can bring your hands into your heart center, or maybe you grow your branches. Exhale, just let everything come back to center. Shake that out a little bit, maybe do a little bit more of that bouncing. I like this story. Christine, my teacher from Subtle Yoga, she shared this story the other day about tree pose. It's, oh gosh, it's Rikshasana, I think that's what it is. But there's there's several different words for different types of trees in Sanskrit, the ancient Indian language of yoga. And there's a word for like just a regular tree, a word for a fruit-bearing tree, and there's a word for a fruit-bearing tree that is not pleasing to look at. And that's the word, the tree pose, where the root of the tree pose, I think it's Rikshasana, comes from. So I thought that was really neat. It's fruit bearing, but it's not pleasant to look at. So don't worry how your tree pose looks. You'll still bear some fruit. So this time we're just starting from your mountain pose again, starting to rock your weight from side to side. When your weight shifts over into your left foot, begin to lift your right heel up off the ground and open your right knee out to the side. You could again just rest that heel on top of your left foot, left. Or maybe it comes up to the inside of your calf, and your hands could come to your hips. Make sure your calf is pressing into the sole of your foot so that your foot isn't pressing your leg out to the side. You still want to maintain that mountain pose type alignment of your shoulders over your hips. Maybe your hands come to heart center, or you grow your branches. And exhale, let everything come back down, shake it out. All right. And then we're going to come back through our Tadasana. And this time we'll sit back a little bit. As you inhale, bring your arms up overhead, or maybe to cactus arms. And sit back just a little bit, bending into your knees. Exhale, float your arms back down. Coming back up to Tadasana. Inhale, arms up, sit back, bend your knees. And exhale, straightening your legs, floating your arms back down. One more time. This time we'll stay for a few breaths. Feel your feet grounded into the mat. Building some heat in your legs. And exhale, come back up to standing. Let your arms float back down. We're going to come down onto our belly and have the few options here. I'll show you. So the first option, similar to the shorter video if you watched that, is just have your forehead come down onto the mat, your hands right next to your chest and your elbows pointing back. And as you inhale, you'll bring your chest up, coming up into Cobra. So that's one option. You can just inhale, come up, exhale, float back down. The other option here would be to bring your arms and your legs into it. So inhaling, your right arm out and your left leg up. Exhaling, lower your leg, bring your arm back. Inhale, lift your right leg, send your left arm out long. Exhale, bring your arm back, lower your leg, lower your forehead. Inhale, right arm, left leg. Exhale, come back to center, lower everything down. Inhale, left arm, right leg. And exhale, lower everything back down. And we'll do a few symmetrical options here. So again, you can just come into cobra if you like, or inhale, both legs, both arms, coming into locust pose. Exhale, lower everything back down. One more time. Inhale, raise everything up, and we'll stay for a few breaths. All right, exhale, lower everything back down. You can just rest your arms along your sides, or maybe bring your elbows out to the sides, stacking your hands one on top of the other, and just create a little pillow for your forehead. Just take a moment to tune in, notice the sensations through your body. See if you can feel those energy lines from your right hand to your left foot, from your left hand to your right foot. Right, and then when you're ready, slowly take your time, come up to tabletop. You have the option to put some padding under your knees, but we're going to be moving in and out of this here, so maybe you won't need padding. So similar to the start of practice, we're going to exhale, lower forearms down, lower your hips towards your heels, coming into the brief child's pose. Inhale. You can bring your arms and your legs into this if you want, inhaling your right arm up and your left leg back. Exhale, bring everything back to tabletop, and we're adding on here. So you can tuck your toes and then press into your hands, lift your knees, send your hips high and back, coming into downward facing dog. Inhale, back through tabletop. Exhale to child's pose, lowering your elbows and your hips. Inhale, back through tabletop, and if you want, left arm, right leg. Bring your hand back down, your leg back down. Tuck your toes under if you like, and then press into your hands, lift your knees, send your hips high and back, coming into downward facing dog. A few more times here. Inhale to tabletop. You could do right hand, left foot. Lower that back down. Exhale to child's pose. Inhale through tabletop. Left arm, right leg if you like. Exhale, bring that back down. Tuck your toes under. Send your hips high and back to downward facing dog. And this time we'll stay in down dog for a few breaths. So you could pedal out your feet. Bring your chest a little closer to your thighs. Open up through the back of your shoulders. Gaze back towards your feet. Inhale back to tabletop. And then slowly make your way onto your back. I'm going to do some twisting today, but a little bit different. We had a little bit more active earlier practice, so this twist is going to be a little bit gentler. Just turn and come over onto your right side of your hip. Now you might want a block either under your legs or between your legs. See if that feels good, or a rolled up blanket. Anything, if you want, that can feel nice to have your hips a little bit more in alignment there with the block between your knees. Your right arm is going to come out from your shoulder, and just start with your left hand on top of your right arm. And as you inhale, you're going to open your arm across your body, just sliding it open across your body over to the left side. And you can turn your head to the left as you do that. And then exhale, we'll fold that back together. So bringing your left hand, kind of follow it with your eyes, slide it back over to your right, lined up with your right hand. Inhale, opening that up, sliding your hand across your body. And exhale, coming back out of the twist. Inhale, sliding that hand, opening up, and this time we'll stay for a few breaths. So if it isn't comfortable for you to have your arms out at a T, you might try cactus arms here, or you could bring this back arm in, rested on your hip. If you had your head turned to look over your shoulder, bring it back to center, and then press your hands into the ground, palms down. Inhale, bring your knees back through center. You can just let your knees fall to the other side, over to the left. I'm going to turn around so that I still stay looking at the camera. So again, you could have your knees resting on a block like this, or maybe a block between your knees, or blanket, whatever, or nothing. It might feel fine just to have your knees stacked one on top of the other. And then open your arms out. This time your left hand is on the bottom, your right hand on top of your left, and then just sliding your right hand along, opening up through your chest, coming into your twist, and turn your head and look down towards your right hand. And exhale, coming back out, sliding your right hand down your left arm, closing it back up for a moment. Inhale, opening back up into the twist. Exhale, sliding back closed. Inhale, open back up, and this time we'll stay here for a few breaths. So lift your head and turn and look down towards your right hand if you like. Notice that stretch along the right side of your body. Maybe it feels like you're breathing more air into your right lung. And turn palms down, bring your head back to neutral. And then inhale, bring your knees up to neutral as well. Move down on my mat a little bit. Keep the soles of your feet on the mat. Or actually, we'll lift your feet up for a little bit. We'll do a little apasana. knees to chest pose here. So as you exhale, your knees are going to come in towards your chest. Inhale, let them float back out. Exhale, engaging your abdominal muscles here to bring your legs in, not your hands. They're just there as a guide for your knees. Inhale, let your knees float back out. And exhale, bring them in. Maybe wrap your hands around your legs. You could rock from side to side a little bit. Massage your low back here. Imagine that you're rocking in a nice gentle boat with some waves. Nice gentle waves from side to side. And now you can lower your feet back down to the mat. We're going to do some bridge poses here. So you might want to block candy for when we get towards the end and do supported bridge. But to start with, just have your palms down on the mat. Inhale, lift your hips up off the mat. Exhale, lower them back down. And this time you can bring your arms into it if you like. So just one arm at a time though. We'll do inhale, lift your hips, bring your right arm overhead. Exhale, float your right arm down, lower your hips. Inhale, lift your hips, bring your left arm overhead this time. Exhale, lower back down. One more time each side. Inhale, right arm, lifting your hips. Exhale, floating everything back down. And you could do cactus arms with this one too. I forgot to mention that. But left arm, if you don't want it to come straight up overhead, you can keep your elbow bent and just do like that. And then we'll do a few symmetrical. So cactus arms, you can have your elbows bent. So inhale, arms up, hips up. Exhale, float them back down. Or if you like your full arms moving here, inhale, arms up overhead, hips up towards the sky. And let's stay here for a few breaths. See if you can use your strength of your muscles here, but if you want, just know you can bring your block in at any time. We're all going to eventually end up there. So whenever you're ready, bring your block in. You can bring your arms back down towards your sides. You need at least one arm to bring your block in, so just let both arms rest by your sides. Your block, I have mine in the medium setting today. I'm feeling like my back is pretty open, so I'm going to rest it in that little bit higher position. But you can have your block on the lowest position if that feels better for your body today. And then just take a moment to tune in. Notice how your body feels. Notice how your breath's feeling. Just check in with your nervous system. Maybe it's starting to calm down a little bit. So we're nearing the end of our practice. If you like a little bit more inversion here, you can lower your block to the lowest setting if it's not already. And you can bring your feet up towards the ceiling, up over your knees over your hips. If you're near a wall, you're welcome to send your legs up the wall. We're not going to be here for too long today. It's a good pose to do for if you have even 5 or 10 minutes, especially if you're up against the wall. Really nice restorative pose. Be a nice spot to kind of get a little flexion, point and flexing in your feet. You can circle your ankles one direction and then the other. And you're welcome to stay here since you are home. You know where we're going next, but if you'd like to stay with your legs up for longer, that's perfectly fine. Or you can bring your legs down, press your feet into the mat so you can lift your hips and take your block out. Be coming into our Shavasana, so let your legs go out long. Your arms can rest comfortably by your sides, maybe palms up. We'll just take one more opportunity to scan our body, kind of going with those contralateral, lots of contralateral movements that we did today. So starting with your right foot, just tune into your toes, then your foot, your right ankle, your right calf, your knee, your right thigh, your right hip, and then moving across your body to your left chest, your left shoulder, your upper arm, your left elbow, your forearm, your left wrist, and your left fingers. Moving to our other diagonal, starting with your left toes, your left foot, your ankle, your left calf, and your knee, your left thigh and pelvis, coming across your body to your right chest, your right shoulder, your upper arm, your right elbow, your lower arm, your right wrist, your hand and your fingers. Feeling that X across your body, the joining of your two hemispheres, working together. And moving up your spine, starting at the tip of your tailbone, up through your pelvis and your sacrum, your lumbar spine, your thoracic, up through your neck and to the top of your head. Release any remaining tension in your face. Relax your forehead and your eyes. You open and close your jaw. Begin to deepen your breath here. Bring a little bit of movement into your fingers and your toes. And moving into your joints, circling your wrists and your ankles. Bring your knees in a little bit and then roll onto one side or the other. Just cradle your head in your arm for a few breaths. Taking a moment to send a little note of gratitude to yourself for taking the time out for your practice today. A note of gratitude to your body for all that it's done for you through this practice throughout your day. And when you're ready, take your top hand and press it into the mat to help bring you up to a seat, comfortable seat. Just cross your legs for a moment. You can close your eyes if you like. Tune into your breath one final time. Maybe you have your right hand again on your lower belly, your left hand over your heart. As we started practice, I have a short reading for you today from A Year Without Fear by Tamma Keeves. It says, "Love is the only way I know to get over fear. I have had to love myself when I'm in my most unattractive stance, lonely or angry or bleeding like a lost lamb, and stupidly sharing it with untrained professionals who look at me coldly or apprehensively as though I am a lost lamb. I have had to love my fear, as in not make it wrong or try to shove its 9.5 spiky heads into the garbage disposal while no one is looking. It is a messenger, and I want to receive its true communication. I've had to learn to be kinder to myself when I feel fear. Compassion engenders self-communication, revelation, and courage. Today, I will be kinder to myself when I feel fear." Let's bring your hands to our side body. Inhale, bringing your arms up overhead, scooping up all this positive, loving, healing energy. And then bring that energy down into your heart space. Bowing to yourself, acknowledging that that light, that love is always inside of you. You can always tap into it. Let it wash away your fears. And then we bow to each other, acknowledging the light and love that exists in each and every one of us. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice today. Namaste.